God, I love this division. Week 9 went exactly how I thought it would back in August. I made a prediction video, and I figured the entire AFC North would sweep this week, and guess what? They did. If the playoffs were today, which they aren't, unfortunately, but if it were today, every single AFC North team would make it. The Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns are all 5-3, and Baltimore is 7-2 and in contention for the number 1 seed. I mean, this is probably I figured this would be the best division in the entire league, but this definitely is, without a shadow of a doubt. And this last week provided a lot of answers and a lot of questions to a lot of football fans, not just in this division, but the entire league. Let's start first and foremost with the leaders in the clubhouse, the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have been absolutely on a tear. On an absolute tear. They destroyed the Detroit Lions, and now they destroy the Seattle Seahawks. I figured the Seahawks came really closer, and I even figure, especially closer till, is like that 19-1 stat against NFC North the NFC opponents. That's how much do you really read into that? But Baltimore's legit. Their season is going exactly how I thought it would. They started off rough. They had a new offensive coordinator. They had a bunch of offensive pieces. It was a completely new scheme for Lamar to adjust to. And now that they got through that rough patch, they're cooking. They're cooking with some real gas. Zay Flowers is legit. If you didn't know that, Zay Flowers is legit. Zay Flowers is awesome. Lamar Jackson is awesome. Baltimore's the leader for a reason, and they got a great defense. They're just an overall really, really, really good team. It's no wonder why they're at the top of the division. The Ravens, they just play some good football. They play some great football. Now, there are a couple of things that you should be concerned about for the Baltimore Ravens, mainly because, well, you got 3 more divisional games yet. You got to play the San Francisco 49ers. You got to play the Miami Dolphins. This is not going to be an easy stretch. And if the Baltimore Ravens are going to lose this division, which is still a possibility, everybody else has 5 wins. I know Baltimore is 7-2 right now, but the rest of the teams are not that far behind. If Baltimore is going to somehow choke and lose this division, it's going to be because they fumble against their divisional opponents, and the injury bug hits them, and then they lose some of those late games in the season. Do I think that's likely? No, I don't. I don't think so. I feel like while some of these divisional games could be problems, but I don't think that Baltimore is going to drop to like a 10-win team. Like, I originally had them going 11-6. It would be pretty disappointing if Baltimore started 7-2 and then went 11-6. A lot of stuff would have to go wrong, but I don't think that's likely. Baltimore, it would be nice if Baltimore got the number 1 overall seed. It would be pretty cool. But it's tough, especially at the top there. You got Jacksonville, you got Kansas City, which I'm still not a believer that the Arrowhead Invitational is back on or any of that nonsense that some arrogant Chiefs fans would propose. But Baltimore's gonna be a good team. They're gonna have a good seeding, and God forbid if they lose the division somehow, they're probably gonna be the 5th. They're gonna be the 5th seed, and giving whoever is the number 4 seed a real trouble. Or it's the playoffs and Lamar Jackson finds a way to lose that game. Who knows? A lot of time until then. But for the rest of this division, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, I know they won, which is good, but they still continue to have a ton of questions. For Pittsburgh, what is going on with the offense? Matt Canada is bad. Kenny Pickett doesn't play well till the 4th quarter. The only good throws that he consistently makes is that fade shot to Pickens. It seems like Kenny Pickett is best when he's attacking the corners of the field, which that's not exactly great. You got to work more in the middle. I mean, at least that's what the eye test is telling me. Watching these Pittsburgh games, it's if Pickett can't hit the corner, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. That's what gave their offense gas against the Baltimore Ravens when they played that ugly game. It's what gave them gas in a lot of these other games. Is you just Pickett come through in the fourth quarter by throwing to Pickens and the back shoulder fade. That's like downright unstoppable. And for Cleveland, there continues to be a lot of quarterback issues. This defense is way better than I thought. I'm a spoiler. I'm from Ohio, so I grew up watching a lot of Bengals, but my family's been Cleveland Browns fans. Three generations on both sides. And I can tell you that watching the Cleveland Browns, it seems like this position is something that the franchise always finds itself in, where you think you're going to make a run, you got some talent, but the questions start to arise at this point in the season. And I'm concerned for Cleveland more than Pittsburgh. I feel like Cleveland's defense, I think statistically may be better than Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's culture is a lot better than Cleveland's, and they at least have clarity when it comes to their quarterback. Like they know what's going on there. Like Deshaun Watson has a fully guaranteed contract. Sometimes he's playing, sometimes he's not playing. I don't know what to make of it. If he could play and be that other Deshaun Watson, they could be winning this division. But now I'm starting to wonder how much of this organizational rot. I mean, if they would have had Baker Mayfield this year, they would have been just fine. They'd probably have a few more wins. And I just don't know what to make of it. I don't. Cleveland and Pittsburgh are similar, but I feel like my original prediction for these two teams is probably going to be pretty close. I figured the Pittsburgh Steelers would finish 10-7. That's sitting at 5-3. That's probably what they're going to do. And I figured while Cleveland, yes, would start 5-3 at this point in the season, would start to taper off and finish with a losing record. And if this drama with Deshaun Watson doesn't get resolved soon, and he doesn't start playing well, and that defense is forced to carry the team week in, week out, they could be in some real trouble. Because there's only one team that objectively speaking, looking at this division, that I think stands a chance against Baltimore, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. Their season is going exactly how I thought it would. They would start slow, starting 0-2, go 3-3 into the bye week, and beat San Francisco and Buffalo coming out of the bye week. That stuff is going exactly as I predicted. I've had a great pulse on the Cincinnati Bengals this year, mainly because it's kind of like the exact same thing we watched last year. Total deja vu. Another situation where Joe Burrow had an injury early in the season. Do I think it's likely that the Bengals are going to catch Baltimore? I don't. Mainly because I don't think the Bengals are going to win their head-to-head in Baltimore. I do think Pittsburgh will end up sweeping Baltimore most likely. I don't know what's going to happen in that Cleveland Browns Ravens game. I'd just stay away from that game. That could be a really volatile mess, especially if Cleveland's quarterback actually plays well and they don't start a rookie. That might help. Yeah. But for the Cincinnati Bengals specifically, they look great. Joe Burrow's himself, and by Joe Burrow is himself, I mean Joe Burrow is playing like an MVP candidate. He was my dark horse MVP pick because I figured that maybe with this back half of the secondary being a little bit vulnerable, he'd be forced to put up some MVP numbers. And turns out the defense is still absolutely awesome, even without Jesse Bates and Von Bell. And Joe Burrow is still going to put up ridiculous numbers. Like he threw for over 350. I know it wasn't as much as C.J. Stroud, but it was great, and especially against that tough Buffalo Bills defense. Cincinnati is on track. Cincinnati is going to make the playoffs. That's a safe bet. I'm telling you right now, Cincinnati will make the playoffs. Now, will they win this division? That's a little bit more of a messy question. But mainly because Baltimore is just so far ahead. They'd have to completely get ravaged by the injury bug again. But Cincinnati is going to have a tough road to hoe, but I really think there are going to be three playoff teams from this division. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Bengals, with either the Bengals or the Ravens taking the division crown. Now, we'll have to wait and see how it works out. Now, for this upcoming week, I think the Bengals are going to take care of business against the Houston Texans. I know the Texans have been great, but the Bengals are also on a heater of their own. And And I just think the Bengals are going to win that one. Now Pittsburgh gets to go clobber the tanking Green Bay Packers. So I'm sure I can't wait for that phone call between Urinating Tree and Tom Grossi after that one. Am I right? Am I right? That's going to be a fun one. And that will probably be another ugly Pittsburgh Steeler game, as they all are. I mean, if Pittsburgh doesn't rush for at least 120 yards, win the turnover battle by at least 2, they need a bunch of fluke stuff to win the game. Whether it comes to ref balls, special teams disasters, or the opponent just completely self-defecating on itself. That's the Pittsburgh formula to success, but they're probably going to win that game. And for Baltimore and Cleveland, that game, those defenses, if I were you, I'd just sit back, relax, and just watch it all happen. Anyways, guys, this is it for the AFC North. This division is going to be awesome. It's going to keep kicking butt. So if you guys like the video or like the content, make sure you like and subscribe. Check out my prediction video from back in August. I'll have the link in the video. Pretty accurate, all things considered. That out of the way, thanks for watching. Stay in the North.